Hello and welcome back to Premier League Primetime. Manchester United went to Anfield. The game is done and it is, of course, 0-0. And something I'll say is the game itself was quite boring in the sense that in terms of I knew how Manchester United were going to approach this game. I knew what was going to happen from the very get go, and I predicted it and said it. Liverpool were they were gonna take the front foot and they're gonna play on the front foot, and Manchester United were gonna try and sit and hit Liverpool on the break, which is exactly what happened. But I'll look at it from both points of view. I'll start with Liverpool. Liverpool should be fuming. That's 2 points drop for them. They outshot Manchester United by I think it was 18 shots to 7. They were pressing United almost the entire game, and it just shows out something is wrong with their forwards. Mane, Salah, Firmino. There's something wrong with them because they've now failed to score in 3 consecutive games. And that's just not the Salah, Mane, Firmino that we know. Everything was coming from their midfield. Thiago Alcantara, Thiago Alcantara was brilliant for me. He was all over the midfield. Wijnaldum was doing bits. Shaqiri was doing very well as well. He was getting stuck in, causing making fouls, making things happen, stopping the play and whatnot. And their defense really had, you know, for the most part, they had a comfortable afternoon. They didn't have to do much, whereas Manchester United's defense was busy throughout the entirety of the game. But yeah, that's what I have to say about Liverpool. It was 2 points dropped for them, and they need to fix up because something's seriously wrong with that forward line. Or just in players in particular, I thought Alexander Arnold was absolutely dreadful. Anthony Martial had him on toast almost that entirety of the game. Rashford as well. Um, Mohamed Salah, the only place I found him was in the back pocket of Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw had a tremendous game, arguably man of the match. And as people know me, I give Luke Shaw, I give him a lot of stick. And but when a man plays well, you gotta come out and say when he plays well. Criticize him when he plays like crap, but when he turns up and plays well, you can't not give him the credit. So, anyways, shifting into Manchester United, I thought David De Gea was absolutely superb. He made several key saves, and I thought, and this is surprisingly, Harry the Hoover and Victor the Vacuum actually busted for the most part. They were, but of course, they had McFred protecting them. Wan-Bissaka had a good game. Luke Shaw had an absolutely brilliant game, arguably man of the match. Rashford and Martial, their pace was kind of nullified by Fabinho for most of the game. And two players that I feel bad for. I feel sorry for Bruno Fernandes. He was in lockdown for most of the game. When he got taken off, he was fuming, and I don't blame him. And that's one thing I criticize Ollie for. Why are you taking off your best player, your most influential player, your catalyst? Why are you taking him off in arguably the biggest game of the season? Could it be injuries? Could it be fatigue? I don't know, but that's something I just really did not get. And Paul Pogba, why are you playing this guy on the right wing? This guy is one of the best players in the world when you play him and when you play him in the midfield. He's Paul Pogba's not a winger, and I that's something I don't get. Or if they're going to play with Fred, McTominay, Pogba, and Bruno Fernandes, why not play a diamond then? That's just something I don't get. Paul Pogba doesn't give you width. He's not that kind of player. But yeah. Anyways, I'll get into the player ratings for Manchester United. In goal, David De Gea, as I said, he made some very very good saves. But to be honest with you, Liverpool were practically toothless in front of goal. But De Gea did make some key saves. He definitely made a very very good save on I think it was Firmino in the second half. And Thiago, he made 2 very big saves on Thiago. So he definitely kept us in the game. I'll give David De Gea a 7. Moving to right back, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, other than a couple of times, he had Mane almost on lockdown for me. Of course, going forward, he was just dreadful, but you know what? That's something that Wan-Bissaka has always been, and hopefully we'll get to see better from him. But his defensive performances for me, it kind of papers over the cracks for him going forward. But still though, I still thought Wan-Bissaka had a very good game. I'll give him a 7 as well. And into the center backs, and I'm actually gonna and both Victor Lindelof and Harry Maguire, and I'm going to give them 7.5s. They were immense. There are a couple times where, of course, Hoover and Vacuum were back again, and as Mane was streaking down, and I thought, oh shit, here we go again. Here we go. Why didn't you start Eric Bailly? But you know what? Um, and in that respect, they did well. I'll give credit to them. Credit should be given where it's due, and I'll give them both a 7.5. And Harry Maguire looked more of a leader today. Maybe he's going into the captaincy, but he's been looking solid as well. And yeah, I'll give him a 7.5 as well. Into left back, Luke Shaw, man of the match for me. Mohamed Salah was nowhere to be seen other than his back pocket. And also going forward, Luke Shaw looks like more of a threat to me, and I think now he's just nailed down that left back spot. And I think Alex Telles is gonna have to. Alex Telles is gonna take a miracle for Alex Telles to become the first choice left back. But for the longest time, we've all known that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer loves Luke Shaw. I mean, he's played this guy in a center back position. I mean, that's how much he loves this guy. Yeah. For me, Luke Shaw, 8.5. We'll go into midfield, and we'll start with Scott McTominay. And for me personally, he didn't do quite much wrong, but at the same time, he looks like he just looked a bit uncomfortable there, especially having the base midfield battle of Thiago and Wijnaldum, and I think a lot of times he would get stripped of the ball from Wijnaldum or Shaqiri or Thiago coming in from midfield. And for me, I really don't think that was the most amazing performance from Scott McTominay, but he didn't do much wrong. I'll give him a 5. Next position, Fred. I love this guy. But that was poor. That was a very poor performance. Time after again, he would get stripped of the ball, mostly from Thiago, actually, coincidentally. And Fred, he was an off day for Fred. But yeah, it was on the poor side. But yeah, at the same time, he wasn't too bad. He still was energetic and mobile. So I'll give him a 4. Wasn't great. Into the attacking three, and we're gonna start with Paul Pogba. And I'm gonna say this. Well, I can say this once, twice, a million times. He's not a right winger. Don't put him on the right. He's not a right winger. But the fact how Paul Pogba looks more focused, he seems more pumped up for games. He just seems more stuck in. And whatever's happened to him, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is clearly no. I'm not gonna say getting the best out of him, because you don't get the best out of arguably your talisman by putting him in far out of position. But something's clearly clicked with Pogba. And he's just looked like a far improved player as you've seen him this season and last season as well. For me, Paul Pogba, even at right wing, yeah, he wasn't great. But in terms of work ethic, he was one of the best players on the pitch. And being played out of position, for me, I still thought he did decently well enough, so I'll give him a 6. And Bruno Fernandes. This guy just went totally missing. I feel sorry for him, and I love this guy. Like Fred, I absolutely love Bruno to bits. But I'm not gonna let favoritism paper over the cracks of a poor performance. It was poor. And for me, it wasn't great. Work ethic, you can't fault the work ethic, but I mean, this is one of your this is a guy who needs to be showing up in big games. And there's that super little stat that says he has 0 goals against the big sides, and that's just not good enough. But I love Bruno. but today was an off day. I'll give him a 4.5. He really was not great today. Into the left side of that attacking trio, Anthony Martial, and it was like him and Rashford were rotating. We're kind of we're interchanging all the time between that left wing and that number 9 slot. And Anthony Martial, he had Alexander Arnold on toast. Alexander Arnold was nowhere to be found. Anthony Martial absolutely tore him a new one. But the end product was just not good enough. It was poor. The end product was nowhere to be found. But Martial for me, he had a decent enough performance. I'll also give him a 6. And last but not least, up front we have Marcus Rashford. And this guy, he was a word. It was as if he morphed into Dan James for me. We literally used him as a Dan James kind of player. Just use him for his pace, and Fabinho nullified him very well. And yeah, it was not Marcus Rashford's day. I'll give him a 4 as well. And into the manager, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and I'll go straight down the middle. I'll give him a 5. Team selection was wrong. Yes, Maguire and Lindelof played well, but why isn't Eric Bailly playing? Why are you dropping him after he's been playing so well? And why are you putting Paul Pogba on the right? Seriously, he's been doing that, and I don't understand why. That's something I really don't get. But at the same time, he's gotten these players to click, and especially with Maguire and Lindelof, for whatever reason, they clicked. And for whatever reason, I know it's literally 2 points drop for us, but you know what? I'll go to Anfield, take a point, and we'll move on. And going to Anfield and playing Liverpool is 100% no easy job to do. But for me, for some of the chances that we had, we should have buried them. Like there was one with Pogba, one with Bruno Fernandes, there's one with Martial. I think Rashford had a shot at top of the box as well that he just hit right into the wall. Yeah, and that's what I'll say on the matter. It wasn't too bad. But yeah, I'll go straight down the middle with Oli, and we'll give him a 5. Anyways, thank you for your time watching this. If you enjoyed this post-game analysis, smash like on the video. And if you want to keep up with what we're doing on our other platforms, Spotify and Instagram, link in the description below. And yeah, we will see you all later this week when everybody, and I don't know if Robo will, but everybody should be back this week. And wherever you are watching this in the world, as I always say, have a great day/evening.